Hey folks, how's it going? It's a rainy summer day here in Arkansas, and I figured I would just go ahead and make a video about fishing rod selection for fishing in the Ozarks. So just for context, my name is Hayes. I was a conventional fisher for quite a while, and then I recently spent kind of the last 7 years exclusively fly fishing. So I sold all my gear and then came back to it, and I just wanted to make a video to help clarify some things so that you don't make the same mistakes I did on the first time around. And so the best rod for you to use is going to be the one that you already have, but assuming that you don't have anything, it's really going to depend on your fishing situation. And so I predominantly fish creeks and rivers and small lakes here in Arkansas. And so my favorite rod, my go-to, is going to be a 6-foot ultralight rod. So I'll hold that up so you can see, pretty thin. Most of the fish that I'm going to be catching out of these creeks and rivers is going to be bass, smallmouth, and panfish that are probably under 3 pounds or so. And so the benefit of having an ultralight rod like that is that you get the sensitivity. And so you can feel all the bites from a fish in current. You can feel when you're fishing the bottom, and so it's easier to know when to set the hook. And you really don't want to go shorter than a 6-foot rod in my experience. So anything shorter than a 6-foot rod, it's typically going to interrupt kind of the taper. And so as we can see here, it's thicker down here by the handle, and then as we go up, it gets thinner and thinner, and that's what I'm referring to as the taper. And so I feel like anything shorter than a 6-foot rod, it doesn't have enough length to get a good gradual taper. Now, if you're going to be fishing bigger bodies of water, so larger lakes, bigger rivers where you know there's bigger fish, then kind of the gold standard for do everything in Arkansas is going to be something like this. And so this is a 7-foot medium light action rod. And I think a 7-foot is actually better than a 6-foot because it does have a better taper, but medium light is going to kind of give you that extra backbone. So when you're setting into a good fish, you have enough of a backbone and enough rod strength to where you can really fight them and bring them in quick versus having to wrestle with them on an ultralight. It's just a really versatile rod, and you can, if you do it right and you kind of get some experience with your drag and everything, you can really play some kind of smaller catfish and other type of species other than just smaller bass and bluegill. And so the last thing I want to talk about are kind of just some tips to avoid. So we already talked about avoid anything shorter than a 6-foot rod. Just in my experience, they don't work as well. But also, I want to talk about big fishing is kind of what I like to call it. So I would be very cautious around any rod that is specifically marketed to as a bass fisherman's rod. And a lot of the times, compared to what I like to fish and how I like to fish, these rods are too stiff. So I have one more example here. So this is a ducket. This is specifically a bass fishing rod. And as you can see, those other rods, I could kind of flex a little farther down here. And this rod is just really, really stiff. So this rod is designed to throw a lot of heavier lures like jigs and big topwater baits, get the good TV, YouTube classic topwater explosion from bass. But for a lot of the applications that I do, I'm fishing rigs that are too light to throw on a rod like this. You just don't get enough sensitivity. Now that's my experience. You might throw bigger lures than what I do, so it could be different depending on where you're fishing, but generally I think a medium light action rod is the perfect do everything, fish for everything rod. And then once you get a little bit more experience, you can kind of figure out, okay, well, I need something heavier for bigger catfish or striper or things of that nature. And so that's all I really wanted to cover in this video. We can talk about some rigs and kind of what lures and things of that nature are going to work best for here in the Ozarks. And this also applies a lot really to just southern United States in general, but we can get into those in the next video. So that's all for now. We'll see you guys soon.